cart, Gordy, cart, can't flow, so we don't have to shout. So, we're standing on top of Mount Moriah. When is the first wait, well, the temple now, God is saying the temple mount. Once the temple was built on top of which mount? When is the first mentioning of Mount Moriah? Very good, Genesis 22. Have no fear, say it, Genesis 22. Because that is the chapter where Abraham is commanded to sacrifice. That's a very interesting moment in the Bible. If you know the Bible altogether, except for, let's say, special poetry, Psalms, Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, how do you say the word? Ecclesiastes, except for some very special books, the Bible is very laconic, very telegraphic, not over explaining in detail, you understand? The Bible is cut to the chase. And suddenly here you see over elaboration. Take your son. God is commanding. He doesn't say your son and that's it and sacrifice it. It continues. Take your son, your only son, which you loved, Isaac, and sacrifice him on top of Mount Moriah. What is this? God thinks that Abraham will not understand which son to take? Really, he has one son. So, does he think that Abraham does not know that he has one son? Does he think that Abraham forgot his son's name and would sacrifice somebody else? The Bible usually doesn't go like this. Whenever we see something different, we have to be like the text.
Like Esau.
What might this mean? And this has been a rabbinical question for a long time. How come this specific place, God in the Bible chooses to go into such detail? Maybe almost unnecessary. Take your son and sacrifice. So we think this was because this is something that is like many events in the Old Testament are a prototype or like an early event of something that will happen in Christ's life, of course. The sacrifice of Isaac is like, you know, early event, just like Christ will be put on the cross. Sacrifice. God will make the ultimate sacrifice. Sacrifice who? His son. God will sacrifice his only son, Jesus, okay? So this special thing is make like a spotlight. Look at this. This is not just a chronicle event. This is something that. And also, the rabbis say this was chosen to go like this into detail to show the complete. Abraham knows it's his only son, it's Isaac, it's this, and he loves him. It doesn't mean to say that he loves him. But this is a message for people through Abraham, okay? Through this event. This is not just a chronicle event. This is something that God is teaching us for ages and ages, every generation, what kind of obedience, what kind of complete trust and faith in God he expects. Okay? So this is like a message. You take your son, your only son which you love. To show us, you know, a spotlight on this event. And Abraham does it. Was it easy for Abraham to get a son? No. When his wife heard, you know, that she's going to be pregnant, what happened to her? Laugh. So Isaac's name is laughter, you know. The laughter in Hebrew. So this is not mine. Okay, you know, take one of my 12 children, the one I care least about. So this is the first mentioning of Mount Moriah, Genesis 22 here, and starts the link and the connection, the people, the Jewish nation, and the mountain. Even before that, if you heard what they said in the Western Wall Tunnel, the link or the specialness of this mountain starts before. What was right over there, where today stands the Golden Dome, the Dome of the Rock? What used to stand before? The temple. Very good. We'll discuss this in a minute. Was it exactly there or a bit to the side? But the temple and this all are built on a place where they believe God, the foundation rock. Have you heard that term before? The rock of foundation. And that is supposed to be, according to the tradition, the place from where God started to create earth, heaven, and the world. So one of the names of Jerusalem is the belly button of the world. It really is in the Bible. God is a mocking name. It's a serious name. The benefit, because from here, God started the name. Now we are ready to hear from Lord.
On the southeast corner of the Temple Mount. This corner is commonly referred to as the pinnacle of the temple, and it's where the enemy brought Christ and said, throw yourself off the pinnacle of the temple and the angels will keep you from harming yourself. We'll talk more about that a little bit later, but that's where this point is. And then you can see the Mount of Olives where we were sitting right up there. So we were looking this way, now you're looking back, okay? So it's just the polar opposite of where we were. And as you can see the smoke coming out up there, looks like they have not got a new pope yet. So, okay, so El-Aqsa Mosque, built in 791 AD, so forgive me, 691 AD, third holiest site in all of Islam. As you know, it marks the farthest point, Al-Aqsa, to the farthest point in Arabic, that Muhammad, the prophet, is supposed to have wandered away from Mecca. It doesn't actually say Jerusalem in the Quran, but that has become tradition. And this is where he supposedly ascended into heaven on his horse. They say that the rock inside the dome of the rock, you can feel the horse's hoof print, where the horse leaped towards heaven and he actually left a footprint in the rock. Whatever. Okay. Whatever. Inside here, you know, during the time of the Crusaders, of course, they turned the Al-Aqsa Mosque into their stables. Remember that? Yeah. I told you that. They used the downstairs and they had their horses down there, kind of like the ultimate insult. Since the reconquest of Jerusalem in 1187, the mosque has been a mosque, and it's venerated highly, and all you need to do to cause real trouble is say anything about the Israelis intending to do harm to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and everything breaks loose up here. Okay, so, can't go inside there unless you're a Muslim. And we don't look like Muslims today. So, or any day, most of us don't look like Muslims. So, can't go inside there, but there you are. So if you're back in the States and you hear something about the El-Aqsa Mosque, now you know what's going on. There was the Muslims built some kind of we don't know what it was, some kind of a meeting room or something under here. This is all new tile, as you can see. And they dug it up and they built something under here. And we don't know what they built, because did Ezra explain to you that this is still in charge of the Waqf of the Muslims?
Not to everybody, so it's a good time to say.
Okay, in 1967, when the Israelis captured the rest of Jerusalem, they wanted to do a nice thing. And so as a gesture of world peace and as a gesture of world harmony, they left the control of the Temple Mount in the hands of the Palestinians, called the Waqf, spelled W-A-Q-F. It's a small council of people led by a mufti, who's like a bishop, who run the Temple Mount. And so the Temple Mount, even though it's ultimately under Israeli control, it's really run every day by the Muslims. That, you know the old saying, no good deed goes unpunished? Yeah, well, that's a classic example of that. That was one of the dumbest things ever done. But anyway, they run this thing, and they have they won't let the Israelis come up here and do any excavations. So who knows what's actually under the Temple Mount? Probably treasures we can't even imagine are buried up here. But the Israelis are not allowed to come up and do any kind of excavation. The Israelis weren't even consulted when the Muslims decided to do whatever building they were doing in connection with the downstairs here. So what ended up happening is the southern wall started bulging out. It was going to collapse. So they had to rebuild part of the southern wall. We'll see if we can show it to you, but you can spot it where it's new construction. because somehow when they went under and did whatever they did, they affected the structure, the engineering of the wall, and the wall began to buckle out and was going to collapse. Who knows what these guys are doing? Anyway, there's something they built under here that nobody knows, and that's why you see the brand new tile here as opposed to the old tile. See where that guy's walking over there? That's the old original limestone and marble floor, foundation, and this is all brand new, all part of whatever they did. Okay? Everybody understand?
Yes.
All right, so he knows what's going on. All right, so this is a real treat though to get to walk over here. So if they, sometimes they let you, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they let you on the Temple Mount, sometimes they don't. It has no rhyme or reason. If the mufti gets up in the morning and his wife burns his toast, then he closes the temple. It can be as random as that. You can show up, be there in line like we were, and it's not open today, they tell you. Why not? Not open today. Why not? Not open today. That's it. It's not open today. So it's really it's really a stupid system, but it's the way it is. So take some pictures up towards Mount of Olives, and then we're going to try to walk down and show you the Golden Gate from the... We were just saying we think they must have elected a pope. Okay. A vain attempt at humor early in the morning. All right, this is the inside of the Golden Gate. So we were sitting on the Mount of Olives, which is directly this way, east. We were looking at the outside of the Golden Gate, which is all blocked up. And we're going to walk outside the wall, Lord willing, and walk up to this gate on the outside. But we wanted you to see it from the inside. And this is a treat. I would say 50% of our tours we don't even get on the Temple Mount, for one reason or another. There can be a gazillion reasons why you don't get up here any given day. I mean, I remember one tour we wanted to come on what day did we want to come? Like on a Thursday. It was open on Monday, open on Tuesday, open on Wednesday. We show up on Thursday, it's closed. And then we were leaving Friday. So it just happened. So only about 50% of the time do we even get up here. And then about 50% of that 50% do we ever get to go to the southeast corner and walk down here. And all it takes is one of the guards up here just walking up to the group and going, no, stop, no, no. And it's just that simple. So anyway, praise the Lord.
Amen.
All right. Now you wouldn't be able to see it from here, but there's Israeli security up on top of the gate who are watching us on the cameras. So let's all wave and say, okay, there you go. Now, trust me, they just saw us say hello. There's also a Muslim girls' school located on the side down where you saw those people sitting, and it extends down and below here, and everybody's very, men are not supposed to get near Arab women. So they're very sensitive about people being over on this area. But we're here. Praise the Lord. Now what you see down below inside of these two metal arches is where the original gate was before Suleiman the Magnificent embellished it when he rebuilt the wall. This was the original gate down below. And this is the gate, well, not this metal gate, but inside the metal gate was the old gates that the Crusaders would open one time a year and march through it on Palm Sunday. And this is where Jesus came through, was that lower gate, okay? The Muslims, Suleiman the Magnificent, the Ottoman ruler in 1537, embellished it with the top of what we see in the arch and the bricks on top of it and everything. You all with me? But the original gate was down below. And when we go outside, I'll show you. You can just see, literally it's about this big. You can just see the very top of the arch of the original gate that Jesus rode through. In other words, what they did is they pushed dirt up against the gate to plant this cemetery. You understand? And they covered the original entrance to the city. And so, but a little tiny bit of the arch you can still see. I mean, literally about 1.5 feet of the very tip top. And that would have been the gate Jesus rode through when he actually entered the city, was this lower gate. So it'd be cool. We'll show it to you when we get on the outside. So this is the inside of the eastern gate. Jesus would have ridden into the city and onto the Temple Mount. Then he would have turned left and gone down to where the money changers were and overturned the tables of the money changers and, you know, ran them out. Okay? Now the Mishnah, which is the Jewish writings of the rabbis, said that when you entered the city through the eastern gate, you were looking directly into the Holy of Holies. Okay, so that gives us some clue as to where the Holy of Holies was. Now you know, no ultra-Orthodox Jewish person is allowed to come up on the Temple Mount. You will never see a black hat up here because we don't know where the Holy of Holies is. So therefore, there's always the risk that they might step on it or go in, you know, step on where it was, and which would be the ultimate defiling of themselves and the place. So no ultra-Orthodox Jew has been up here, ever. Since 1967, they can't come up because there's no definite identification of where the Holy of Holies is. But if, when we go up on top, just remember where we are, I'll point it out to you. See the real tall tree here? We'll use that as a marker. See the cypress type tree? All right, when we get up on top, remember, straight in the eastern gate is the Holy of Holies. Now when we go up on top, I want you to see where that comes out. It does not come out at the Dome of the Rock. A lot of people think the Holy of Holies and the temple was built over the Dome of the Rock, where you see the big gold dome. It's possible. It's possible. But if we go by the rabbinic writings, it was built to the north of that. And you'll see it when we go up on top. Okay? That's the only indication we have from the rabbis where the Holy of Holies was, directly in line with the eastern gate. You got it? Okay, take your pictures, and then we'll go on up on top.
Got my compass. 270, yep, right there. Right there. Right up the steps. Okay.
All right, the stones where you're standing, this is part of the original Temple Mount from the time of Jesus. You can notice the difference, obviously, between these and the new stones we were standing on over on the southeast corner. Remember, this was an expansion of the original. You say, are these from the time of King Solomon? No. This was an expansion of the Temple Mount that was carried on by Herod the Great to beautify the Temple Mount and try to earn brownie points with the Jews, okay? There may be a few original stones in here that go all the way back to the first temple period, but we don't know which ones they are. Okay, most of what you see here, the breadth of this, was from the time of King Herod. Now, here's our cypress tree, right here. And some of you sitting farther back there can actually see the eastern gate through the trees there, right? Right?
Yes.
Right? John Hart, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's our cypress tree that we pointed out.
Here you go, look. I got my compass out here. Watch. Oh, that's, hold on, it'll shake out just a second. It takes a minute to get to the entrance. Here we go. 90. There's 90 dead straight. 270. It goes right to the Dome of the Winds. See? 270. There you go, right there. Right there, you're on it. It goes right to the Dome of the Winds. Dome of the Letters. Right there. Pretty cool.
Run by the French Catholics. As you can see, French flag up on top of the church. This is St. Anne's Church, the oldest, best preserved Crusader church in all of Israel. Those of you who have been on the October tour, you've been here, yes? Yeah. A few. Okay. Well, it's good. If you haven't, welcome. This was built at the site of the Pool of Bethesda. The Pool of Bethesda is just across that wall at the back of the courtyard, and it has 5 courts, 5 porticos, 5 porches, just exactly the way John chapter 5 says. Thank you so much. All right, I just disappeared. Well, where'd he go?
Step up there with him.
I'm trying to be swift. I'm trying to get a Bible. He told us we should order the Bible. I got it. Thank you. I have to expand it. Does it expand? It does. Okay, I'll do my best to read it. Which is now called the Lion's Gate or the St. Stephen's Gate, but it was called the Sheep Gate then. A pool, which in Hebrew is called Bethesda, having 5 porches. Which is nice. Yeah. Starts, what do you call it?
The Memorial Day for the Fallen Soldiers.
Yes, Memorial Day for the Fallen Soldiers. So tonight they're going to have like big celebration. The Prime Minister's coming to the Dung Gate, to the Wailing Wall. The President of the country will be at the Wailing Wall. The Chief of Staff of the Army will be at the Wailing Wall. So it's kind of like when we have a big deal in Washington and something's going to happen. We're running into like, some place where we're just having to be a little flexible today. Because they've got, as you can see, lots and lots of security. Also, the siren will go off at what time?
8 p.m.
And there'll be a moment of standing silence.
I happen to respect the fallen soldiers for 1 minute, like this, silence, standing up, and then we continue with our business.